You're safe here now. You've made it through another day, through all its challenges and demands, through all its noise and commotion. You've arrived at this quiet moment, this sanctuary of stillness. The world has fallen away. And in this sacred space, you can finally let your guard down. The journey that brought you here, with all its weariness, its disappointments, its small victories and hidden tears, has ended for today. And now, you're here, in this moment of grace, where nothing more is required of you. The light is soft around you now, gentle and warm, like the glow of a single candle in a darkened room. Perhaps your bedside lamp casts long shadows across familiar walls, or moonlight filters through your curtains, painting silver patterns across your floor. The night has settled in, bringing with it a permission to rest that the daylight hours so rarely afford. And in this gentle light, you are not alone. He is already here, waiting for you. Jesus sits quietly in this room, his presence as real as the pillow beneath your head, as tangible as the blanket across your legs. Can you sense him? His eyes hold nothing but warmth for you, a tender understanding of everything you've carried today. His smile contains no judgment, no disappointment, only a welcoming love that has been anticipating this moment with you. Feel the weight beginning to lift from your shoulders now. With each breath, something heavy and tight begins to unwind within you. Your breathing slows, finding a gentler rhythm. The tension that has been holding your body captive starts to melt away, dissolving like morning mist in the warmth of his presence. You don't have to hold yourself together anymore. You don't have to be strong or capable or wise. You simply need to be here. Be still, he whispers to your heart, and know that I am God. These aren't demanding words. They're an invitation to release your grip on all that concerns you, all that weighs upon you. He doesn't require your productivity or your perfection. He asks only for your presence, just as he offers you his. He sits beside you now, patient and understanding, creating a shelter of grace around you both. You are seen in this moment, truly seen, not as others perceive you or as you sometimes fear yourself to be, but as you really are. The parts of your heart you've hidden away, the struggles you've faced alone, the doubts that have lingered unspoken. You are known completely and loved without reservation. There is nothing you need to explain or justify, nothing you need to accomplish or prove. His arms encircle you now, not physically perhaps, but in that deeper reality where soul meets soul. In this embrace, you find a safety that the world cannot offer. A sanctuary where your vulnerability is met with tenderness, your weakness with strength, your uncertainty with peace. These divine arms have held the universe in balance, yet they hold you with the gentle care of one who treasures what is precious and fragile. You don't need to carry your burdens anymore, not tonight. They can rest beside you, outside this circle of peace that surrounds you now. Tomorrow will have its own concerns, its own grace, but this moment, this night, is for restoration. Can you feel his hand reaching for yours now? So gently, with such care, Jesus is inviting you deeper into rest, into a place where the noise of the world grows distant and the whispers of heaven draw near. It's safe to let go now, to unwind completely, to surrender to this sacred embrace. Listen to the sound of your breathing, growing deeper and more peaceful. Feel your heartbeat slowing to match his perfect rhythm. Peace is descending, covering you like a mantle of grace, wrapping around your tired soul. Come further in. The day is over now, and you are safe. It's time to exhale, beloved one. The day with all its demands has finally released its hold on you. All those responsibilities you carried, the meetings that required your focus, the problems that needed solving, the people who looked to you for answers. They no longer need your attention. The emails can wait unanswered. The decisions can remain unmade. The plans for tomorrow can rest dormant until the new day dawns. This sacred evening space belongs not to your obligations, but to your restoration. Feel your lungs fill with air, and then release it slowly, completely. With each exhale, imagine the weight of today's concerns leaving your body, one by one. Your shoulders softening, your jaw unclenching, your forehead smoothing out those worried lines. Your hands uncurling from their tight fists. Your chest expanding with new freedom. The tension you've been holding, perhaps without even realizing it, is invited to dissolve now in the gentleness of this moment. Jesus sits with you, his presence creating a circle of calm around you both. He gestures to the space before him, a symbolic invitation for you to lay down each burden at his feet. The pressures you've been carrying don't belong in your bed tonight. They don't belong in your dreams or in the quiet chambers of your heart. With tender understanding, he waits as you begin the sacred practice of release. "Come to me," he whispers, his words flowing like honey over your weary soul. "All you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." These aren't just ancient words on parchment. They're a present reality, a doorway opening into peace. His invitation isn't one of judgment or demand, but of compassionate relief. And tonight, in the quiet of this sanctuary, you can accept it fully. Perhaps you moved through your hours, giving and serving, responding and supporting, yet wondering if anyone truly noticed the cost to your spirit. Maybe you smiled through meetings while worry gnawed at your insides. Maybe you answered questions confidently while doubt whispered in your ear. Maybe you maintained strength for others while feeling your own resources depleting with each passing hour. Jesus sees all of this, the public strength and the private struggle. He witnessed every moment when you chose patience instead of irritation, kindness instead of indifference, perseverance instead of surrender. He noticed when you swallowed back tears to be present for someone else, when you pushed aside your own needs to meet another's, when you continued despite feeling empty and alone. The silent tears, the unspoken prayers, the momentary battles that no one else observed. He treasured each one. Nothing was wasted. Nothing went unnoticed. And now, in this sacred evening hour, Jesus sits with you in perfect understanding of your particular weariness. Not with distant sympathy, but with intimate compassion born from his own experience of human struggle. He knows the weight of expectations, the sting of misunderstanding, the exhaustion of continual giving. And his presence beside you now is not a burden, but a blanket, warming the cold places within you that the day's demands have left exposed. Let your breath find a rhythm now, gentle, unhurried, peaceful. As you inhale, imagine drawing in the very presence of Christ, filling your lungs with divine peace. As you exhale, release all that troubles you, all that constrains you, all that does not serve your soul's restoration. Breathe in his grace. Breathe out your struggle. Breathe in his strength. Breathe out your weakness. Breathe in his light. Breathe out your darkness. Feel how he sits beside you, not impatient for morning, not checking the time, not thinking of elsewhere. He is fully present, delighting in these quiet moments with you. Your rest is not an inconvenience to him, but a pleasure, a sacred trust. He guards with perfect love. The God who spun galaxies into being now focuses the entirety of his attention on your peaceful breathing, your slowing heartbeat, your gradually relaxing form. Perhaps today held failures that still sting in your memory, the sharp word you wish you could retract, the opportunity you missed. the task you couldn't complete, the promise that went unkept, the expectation, your own or another's, that remained unmet. These perceived shortcomings may have followed you into this night space, unwelcome companions that whisper accusations and stir regret. But watch now as Jesus approaches each of these failures with gentle hands. See how he doesn't lecture or scold, doesn't sigh with disappointment, or turn away in frustration. Instead, he kneels beside each regret and tenderly washes it with forgiveness. What you see as stains on the fabric of your day, he treats as wounds in need of healing. Where you feel shame, he offers restoration. Where you remember imperfection, he speaks worth. My love for you, he assures with eyes that hold eternity, has never been based on your performance. It doesn't rise with your successes or fall with your failures. It simply is constant as the stars, deeper than the ocean depths, more certain than the dawn. Watch as your failures and regrets begin to dissolve like mist in morning light. They lose their sharp edges, their heavy weight, their power to define you. They become simply moments that have passed, experiences that have taught, opportunities for grace that have opened. They no longer need to accompany you into sleep. The inner critics that have followed you throughout the day, perhaps throughout your life, may still be whispering their familiar accusations. The voice that says you're never quite enough. The voice that compares your journey to others and finds yours lacking. The voice that counts your flaws with meticulous attention and dismisses your beauty with casual indifference. The voice that questions your worth, your belonging, your right to rest and receive care. Jesus approaches these voices now, not with anger, but with quiet authority. See how they fall silent in his presence, how they cannot maintain their accusations in the face of his truth. One by one, he replaces their lies with his reality, their condemnation with his acceptance. There is now no condemnation, he reminds you. Words from Romans 8 flowing like a healing stream for those who are in Christ Jesus. This isn't a distant theological concept, but an immediate reality surrounding you now, protecting you from the arrows of accusation. You rest not in your own perfection, but in his completed work, not in your flawless record, but in his flawless love. Feel how your mind begins to quiet as these harsh voices retreat. The constant commentary that is played in the background of your thoughts, evaluating, criticizing, warning, judging, fades to a whisper and then to silence. In its place comes a calm spaciousness, room to simply be without the pressure to become. Jesus now sits closer, his presence bringing warmth to the places within you that have grown cold with criticism or numb with effort. With infinite patience, he begins to untangle the knotted threads of thoughts and emotions that the day has woven within you. There's no hurry in his movements, no frustration with complexity, no weariness with the process. Some tangles loosen immediately at his touch, others require more time, more care. He doesn't force or rush, but works with the gentle persistence of one who understands both the fragility and resilience of the human heart. And as he works, the inner landscape begins to smooth and settle, like a lake after wind has ceased to trouble its surface. You don't need to be anywhere but here now. You don't need to be anyone but yourself, imperfect, unfinished, and still completely loved. Your worth doesn't depend on completion or achievement or having everything figured out. It rests securely in the reality that you are treasured by the Creator of all things, held in the heart of the one who numbers the stars and calls them each by name. Notice how this release unfolds, not all at once but gradually, like flower petals opening to morning light. Some parts of you surrender easily to rest, others hold on a bit longer, unsure of safety. Jesus honors this process, never pushing or demanding, but simply continuing his patient invitation. And with each moment in his presence, Another layer of resistance softens, another wall lowers, another fear subsides. The emotional landscape is clearing now, making space for something new. As defenses lower and controls release, there's room for divine presence to expand within you. Feel the subtle but profound shift from releasing to receiving, from letting go to taking in. The weight of blankets around you becomes a tangible reminder of being covered, protected, held secure. The darkness of night transforms from something to fear into a cocoon of rest, a sanctuary for renewal. As your heart opens further, Jesus draws even closer. His companionship becomes more tangible, more intimate, not just a concept or a distant comfort, but a living reality meeting you in the deepest places of your being. And in this sacred communion, the day truly ends. Its grip releases completely. Its concerns fade into proper perspective. Its power over your peace dissolves in the greater reality of divine presence. You are held now in arms stronger than your struggles, wiser than your worries, more enduring than your exhaustion. And as you continue to breathe in this sacred rhythm of release and receive, you make space for the deeper experience of His companionship that awaits. Can you sense His nearness now? Jesus sits at the edge of your bed, His presence gentle as moonlight streaming through your window. There's nothing hurried in His posture, nothing demanding in His gaze. He settles beside you with the ease of one who belongs there, who has always belonged there. The room itself seems to respond to His presence, growing somehow warmer, safer, filled with a peace that transcends your circumstances. Look into His eyes. They hold a depth of understanding that no human companion could offer. These eyes have witnessed the entirety of human history, have seen civilizations rise and fall, have watched generations come and go like waves upon a shore. Yet somehow, miraculously, they focus now on you with complete attention, as if you were the only soul in creation. There is no distraction in His gaze, no impatience, no hidden agenda, only a love so pure it would overwhelm you if not offered with such gentle care. His smile carries no expectation, no subtle pressure to perform or please. It simply welcomes you as you are, in this moment, with all your complexities and contradictions. This smile has calmed storms and comforted the brokenhearted, has reassured the doubting and encouraged the faithful. Tonight, its warmth is directed entirely toward you, creating a sanctuary of acceptance where your weary spirit can finally exhale completely. No words are required between you. The connection runs deeper than language, flows beneath the surface of conscious thought. You can simply be with Him, your breathing gradually synchronizing with His, your heartbeat finding its truest rhythm in His presence. The noise of the day, all those voices and demands and distractions, continues to recede, replaced by a silence that doesn't feel empty, but full, rich with unspoken understanding. As you rest in this companionable quiet, Jesus gently reminds you that this is not the first night He has carried you through. Remember that time when grief felt too heavy to bear alone. He was there, His tears mingling with yours, His strength supporting you when your own failed. Remember that season of uncertainty, when the path ahead disappeared into fog. He was there, holding your hand in the darkness, guiding each tentative step. Remember those hours of physical pain when your body betrayed you and sleep seemed impossible. He was there, His presence a balm more effective than any medicine. Each struggle you've endured, each night you've stared at the ceiling, each tear you've shed in darkness, each fear that has stalked your midnight hours. He has witnessed and accompanied, not as distant observer, but as intimate companion, feeling every emotion, sharing every burden. The arms that hold you now have never let you go, even in those moments when His presence was harder to sense. All those previous nights form a testimony of faithfulness, that extends into this present moment. The God who has carried you through every darkness before will certainly carry you through this one. The Savior who has never abandoned you will not begin tonight. The companion who has proven trustworthy in every storm remains unchanged, unchangeable, the same yesterday, today, and forever. Tonight is simply another chapter in this ongoing story of care, another verse in this unending song of love. And though circumstances change and seasons shift, though your emotions rise and fall, and your perception clouds and clears, His commitment to you remains the constant around which everything else revolves. Jesus sits with you now as the perfect companion for this nighttime journey. There's no rush in His manner, no hidden impatience for you to hurry through your process. He doesn't glance at the time or think of elsewhere or wish for different company. He is completely present, entirely focused, absolutely committed to this quiet space with you. The Lord is my shepherd. The ancient psalm whispers through your memory, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He restores my soul. These aren't just poetic images, but present realities. Right now, in this bed, in this room, He leads you beside those quiet waters. He spreads those green pastures beneath your weary spirit. He restores what the day has depleted, renews what stress has worn thin, and remarkably, inexplicably, He takes pleasure in these moments with you. Your rest isn't a duty. He fulfills but a connection He cherishes. Your peace isn't an obligation. He meets but a gift He delights to give. Even now, as your eyelids grow heavy and your thoughts begin to drift, He remains engaged, attentive, invested in every breath, every heartbeat, every subtle shift toward deeper relaxation. Jesus gently takes your hand now, inviting you to walk with Him through the garden of today's memories. With His perspective, even the difficult moments appear in a different light. That conversation that left you feeling inadequate, He shows you the courage it took to engage, despite your fear, the growth that came through vulnerability. That decision that still causes you to second-guess yourself, He reveals the wisdom you exercised with the information available, the integrity that guided your choice. As you move together through these recollections, He helps you notice blessings that were obscured by busyness, gifts that were overshadowed by challenges, the unexpected kindness from a stranger, the moment of beauty that caught your breath, the small victory that deserved celebration. The prayer answered in a way you almost missed, the strength that arose precisely when needed. These treasures, overlooked in the rush of hours, now shine like jewels in the gentle light of His presence. Even the struggles begin to transform as you view them through His eyes. What seemed like failures become opportunities for grace to operate. What felt like rejection opens doors for deeper connection elsewhere. What appeared as loss creates space for new growth. Nothing is wasted in the divine economy. Nothing is beyond redemption in the hands of a Savior who specializes in creating beauty from ashes. I know the plans I have for you, He reminds you, words from Jeremiah flowing like a river of assurance, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. These plans aren't abstract or distant, but are actively unfolding even now, even in the places where your limited perspective sees only confusion or pain. As you continue this gentle journey through the day's landscape, Jesus reveals moments when He was working behind the scenes, unrecognized but fully engaged. That unexpected solution that arose when you had exhausted your own resources. His provision, that strength that surpassed your natural capacity. His power flowing through your weakness. That peace that settled over you in the midst of chaos. His presence making itself known. Like footprints in sand that only become visible from a certain angle in particular light. His involvement in your day emerges more clearly now in this reflective evening space. Those times when you felt most alone, He was carrying you, holding you closer than ever, though your overwhelm may have clouded your perception of His presence. When you passed through the waters, I was with you, He assures, words of Isaiah becoming personal promise. And through the rivers, they did not overwhelm you. When you walked through the fire, you were not burned, and the flame did not consume you. Not because the waters weren't deep or the fire wasn't hot, but because He was there, His presence changing everything about your experience of hardship. As this truth settles deeper into your consciousness, something profound begins to happen. The moments of your day, all its joys and struggles, its victories and disappointments, begin to reweave themselves into a new narrative. No longer disconnected incidents or random occurrences, they form a tapestry of meaning, a story of divine companionship that stretches backward through your history and forward into your future. And now, in this quiet room, in this peaceful darkness, that companionship deepens into communion. The connection between you and Jesus transcends words, transcends understanding. It exists in that sacred space where your spirit recognizes His, where Creator meets created in intimate knowing, where finite encounters the Lord. Your God is with you. Zephaniah's words flow like warm honey over your consciousness, the mighty warrior who saves. He will take great delight in you. In His love, He will no longer rebuke you, but will rejoice over you with singing. Listen closely now. Beyond the ticking of your clock, beyond the ambient sounds of night, can you hear it? That melody of delight, that song of perfect love. It pulses beneath the surface of silence, resonates in the chambers of your heart. Your own heartbeat seems to synchronize with this divine rhythm, finding its truest cadence in harmony with His. Each pulse, each breath becomes a wordless prayer, a communion deeper than language can express. In this sacred connection, time itself seems to slow, to stretch, to take on the quality of eternity. A minute here contains more peace than hours of distracted activity. A moment of this awareness brings more restoration than days of empty rest. As you continue to breathe in this sacred rhythm, Jesus gently acknowledges the deeper storms you still carry within, those concerns that lie beneath the surface of everyday worries, those fears that wake you in darkest night, those burdens you've carried so long they feel like part of your identity. With tender compassion, He extends His hand toward these hidden places, creating safe space for their acknowledgement. There's no judgment in His invitation, no impatience with your process, no timetable for your healing, just the steady offer of His presence in the deepest, darkest places of your heart. And as trust continues to build between you, as His reliability becomes more evident with each passing moment, you find yourself ready to journey with Him, from companionship into deeper surrender. The day's surface concerns have been addressed. The immediate tensions have released. Now, in this deepening connection, there's capacity to address what lies beneath. The core struggles, the persistent fears, the lingering wounds that affect your peace at levels often left untouched. And Jesus, ever gentle but ever persistent in His love, waits for your permission to enter these sacred, vulnerable spaces. His hand remains extended, His eyes full of compassion rather than condemnation. And the invitation is clear. Will you allow Him to meet you in the storms you carry? Will you permit His perfect love to enter the places where fear has reigned too long? Will you trust His healing touch on wounds that have shaped your identity and limited your freedom? The choice is always yours. He never forces, never manipulates, never shames, but He always offers, always waits, always hopes. And as you consider His invitation, you sense that accepting it might be the next step toward the deepest peace your soul has longed for. When you lie down, you will not be afraid. Proverbs, ancient wisdom whispers through your fading awareness. When you lie down, your sleep will be sweet. Not because dangers don't exist, or because life's challenges have disappeared, but because the one who holds the universe in being now holds your resting consciousness with the same attentive care. You notice Jesus' fingers gently touching your eyelids now, a gesture both physical and symbolic. Permission to close not just outer eyes, but inner ones as well. To cease striving to see and understand and manage. To trust the vision of the one who sees perfectly on your behalf. To rest in the guidance of the one who knows the path completely. As your eyes close under this tender touch, other senses heighten temporarily. You hear the subtle sounds of night, perhaps distant traffic or neighborhood noises, perhaps household settling or natural world stirring, perhaps simply the sound of your own breathing, gradually slowing, deepening, steadying. These sounds don't disturb, but rather confirm the continuing reality outside your experience of it. Life proceeding under divine supervision even as your awareness of it fades. You feel the weight of your body surrendering to gravity's gentle pull, sinking deeper into mattress, muscles releasing their last held tensions, joints finding their most comfortable alignment. This physical surrender mirrors the soul's deeper release into divine care, the growing recognition that you are held by forces far greater than your own strength, supported by love far stronger than your own capacity, carried by hands far more capable than your own grasp. You sense the boundaries between conscious and unconscious beginning to blur, thoughts becoming less linear and more associative, images arising unbidden from deeper regions of mind, awareness shifting from directed attention to receptive floating. And through it all, Jesus remains constant. His presence the one fixed point in this fluid transition. His love, the unchanging reality as all else shifts and changes. I have set the Lord always before me. The psalm flows through your fading consciousness. Because he is at my right hand, I will not be shaken. This divine presence continues uninterrupted as your own awareness intermittently dims and brightens, as thoughts surface and submerge, as attention coheres and dissolves. The relationship established in full consciousness maintains through every phase of descent into sleep's embrace. As this threshold crossing continues, Jesus draws even closer. His presence wraps around your increasingly vulnerable state with heightened protection. His attention focuses with particular care on this transition between worlds, this holy passage from one state of being to another. His commitment intensifies as your ability to maintain connection weakens. You will not fear the terror of night. The psalmist's assurance settles over you like a final covering, nor the arrow that flies by day. The anxieties that sometimes accompany sleep's approach, the vulnerability of unconsciousness, the unpredictability of dreams, the release of control, dissolve in the warm certainty of divine protection. Not because the night holds no mysteries, but because those mysteries themselves rest within greater mystery of divine love. In these final moments before consciousness fully surrenders, Jesus whispers one last assurance: I will never leave you. I will never forsake you. What began in wakefulness continues in sleep. What was real in light remains real in darkness. My presence does not depend on your awareness of it, but on my faithfulness, which never fails, never falters, never ends. And with this promise echoing in deepest reaches of being, you feel consciousness gently releasing its final hold, thoughts slowing to occasional ripples across the still surface of awareness, body settling into complete repose. The transition completes as trust replaces effort, surrender replaces striving, receiving replaces controlling. Sleep's embrace opens now, ready to receive you fully. And Jesus, faithful shepherd of your soul, guides you across this final threshold into the deep rest he has prepared. As consciousness recedes and sleep's currents carry you deeper, Jesus maintains his loving vigil. Nothing distracted or divided in his attention, nothing diminished in his care. The same presence that accompanied your waking hours now watches over your sleeping ones with equal faithfulness, equal tenderness, equal love. His hand rests gently on your forehead or heart, not as physical sensation perhaps, but as spiritual reality, more substantial than any material touch. This divine connection continues unbroken as awareness fluctuates, as consciousness surfaces and submerges, as dreams form and dissolve. The relationship established in waking communion maintains through every phase of night's journey. I will not leave you as orphans. His promise from John's Gospel remains in effect even as your ability to consciously receive it fades. I will come to you. And he does, as distant guardian, but as intimate companion. Not as remote supervisor, but as present protector. Not as reluctant duty bearer, but as willing love giver. He who watches over you will not slumber. The ancient psalm takes on immediate relevance. Indeed, he who watches over Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. While human awareness requires periods of unconsciousness for restoration, divine attention knows no such limitation. The eyes that see sparrows fall and count hairs on heads remain open through darkest night, through deepest sleep, through most profound unconsciousness. This unsleeping vigilance isn't anxious or strained, but peaceful and natural as breathing. There's nothing burdensome about this night watch for the one who holds galaxies in motion, who maintains atomic bonds, who sustains cellular function, the God who established day and night, who created sleep's necessity and blessing, who ordained consciousness and its temporary suspension. This God watches over your particular journey through night's landscape with focused delight, with personal investment, with specific intent. Around your bed, heaven's guardians take their places, not as superstition or sentimentality, but as spiritual reality attested by Scripture, affirmed by tradition, confirmed by experience. These angelic presences, beings of light and power, servants of Most High God, extend divine protection to every corner of your resting place. For he will command his angels concerning you. The psalmist's words become present comfort. To guard you in all your ways, they will lift you up in their hands, so that you will not strike your foot against a stone. This spiritual covering doesn't eliminate all challenge or remove all struggle, but it ensures that nothing beyond divine permission can touch your life, that nothing outside sovereign purpose can affect your journey. Feel yourself enfolded in wings of grace and mercy. Not physical sensations, but spiritual realities, more substantial than material objects. This covering isn't earned through righteousness or maintained through worthiness, but freely given through love, sustained through faithfulness, guaranteed through promise. The protection that surrounds you depends not on your perfection, but on divine character, not on your performance, but on heavenly commitment. Under this covering, darkness loses its threatening aspect. The unknown regions of sleep, with all their vulnerability and mystery, rest securely within greater certainty of divine knowledge and care. The fears that sometimes accompany unconsciousness, of loss of control, of unseen danger, of unguarded moments, dissolve in the warm assurance of perfect protection, perfect attention, perfect love. As sleep deepens and dreams begin their mysterious work, Jesus becomes shepherd of these unconscious territories. The thoughts and images that arise from depths of mind pass through his loving discernment before forming dream narratives, not controlling or manipulating, but guiding and protecting, ensuring that sleep serves its restorative purpose rather than becoming another realm of struggle. Like a skilled shepherd leading flock through unfamiliar landscape, Jesus guides the dream journey with perfect wisdom. He knows when to allow processing of difficult material for healing's sake. He knows when to redirect from unnecessary distress toward peaceful resolution. He knows when to transform threatening symbols into growth opportunities. He knows when simply to provide quiet rest without dreams activity. When you lie down, your sleep will be sweet. Solomon's wisdom takes on experiential meaning as divine presence transforms unconscious realms, not through mystical manipulation, but through loving relationship that extends beyond conscious interaction into sleep's deeper territories. The connection established in wakefulness continues through every level of being, body, soul, and spirit, finding rest in divine embrace. In the night, Elihu's observation to Job resonates through your deepening sleep. God speaks in one way or another. He may speak in their ears and terrify them with warnings, to turn them from wrongdoing and keep them from pride, to preserve them from the pit, their lives from perishing by the sword. This divine communication doesn't intrude or violate, but invites and illumines, offering guidance, healing, revelation that conscious mind might resist or misunderstand. Dreams become not random neural firing, but sacred conversation. God, speaking in symbolic language that bypasses rational defenses, addresses deeper awareness, communicates with primal understanding. Not every dream carries specific message, but every dream occurs within context of divine presence, divine care, divine intention for wholeness and restoration. As sleep carries you through its various phases, from lighter transitions to deeper restoration, Jesus accompanies this night journey with perfect faithfulness. Like companion on sacred pilgrimage, he walks beside you through every valley of unconsciousness, every shadow of dream landscape, every depth of neural restoration. Nothing about this territory is foreign to him who created sleep's necessity, who designed brain's complex functions, who ordained dreams' mysterious purposes. Even in those deepest valleys where awareness seems most distant, where identity seems most dissolved, where control seems most surrendered, especially in these places, his presence remains constant, his attention undivided, his care undiminished. The hand that holds galaxies in place now holds your sleeping consciousness with equal power, equal precision, equal love. Even the darkness will not be dark to you. David's psalm speaks profound truth. The night will shine like the day, for darkness is as light to you. What appears as unconsciousness from human perspective remains fully known, fully seen, fully attended from divine viewpoint. The God who sees in darkness as clearly as in light watches over your sleep with perfect vision, perfect understanding, perfect care. The parts of yourself unavailable to your own awareness, the unconscious processes, the autonomic functions, the neural pathways beyond conscious access, remain fully known and lovingly tended by the one who designed them. The breathing that continues without deliberate command, the heartbeat that maintains without conscious instruction, the cellular repair that progresses without intentional direction, all these continue under divine supervision, divine blessing, divine care. You created my inmost being. The psalmist's words take on deeper significance in this unconscious state. You knit me together in my mother's womb. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. This intimate knowledge extends to every moment of sleep, every phase of dream, every level of unconscious function. As body and mind surrender to sleep's deeper work, a profound healing begins. It's not just physical restoration, but emotional and spiritual renewal. The tensions that conscious effort couldn't release now dissolve in sleep's deeper surrender. The perspectives that waking analysis couldn't shift now transform through dream's symbolic processing. The connections that rational thought couldn't make now form through unconscious integration. Jesus tends to these unseen wounds with particular tenderness. The hurts too deep for words, the traumas beyond conscious processing, the griefs beyond rational resolution. These, especially, receive his healing attention during sleep's vulnerable openness. The divine hands that once healed physical ailments in Galilean villages now touch deeper injuries with equal power, equal compassion, equal effectiveness. He gives to his beloved sleep. The psalmist's observation reveals sleep not just as biological necessity, but as divine gift opportunity for healing beyond conscious capacity, for restoration beyond deliberate effort, for renewal beyond intentional practice. The surrender that conscious mind resists, the vulnerability that waking defenses protect against, the release that active will struggles to permit, all become possible in sleep's deeper letting go. As physical form rests in this divine care, heaven's lullaby begins, not as audible sound perhaps, but as spiritual reality more substantial than any material music. The voice that called stars into being, that commanded winds and waves, that spoke universe into existence. This voice now sings over your sleeping form, with intimate tenderness, with personal delight, with specific blessing. The Lord, your God, is with you. Zephaniah's prophecy fulfilled in this moment, the mighty warrior who saves. He will take great delight in you. In his love, he will no longer rebuke you, but will rejoice over you with singing. This divine song contains your name, your story, your particular beauty. It celebrates who you have been, affirms who you are becoming, anticipates who you will be in fullness of time. The rhythm of this heavenly lullaby synchronizes with your heartbeat, harmonizes with your breathing, resonates with your deepest identity. It sings truth over lie, blessing over curse, promise over fear. It declares belonging where there has been rejection, purpose where there has been meaninglessness, hope where there has been despair. It rewrites false narratives with eternal realities, replaces distorted beliefs with divine perspectives, transforms limiting identities with liberating truth. As this divine singing continues, you feel yourself rocked in rhythm with eternal heartbeat. The arms that stretched wide on cross now cradle your sleeping form with infinite tenderness. The hands that bear nail scars now stroke your hair with intimate affection. The heart that broke for world's redemption now beats in perfect sync with your own, steady, strong, unwavering in its commitment to your particular well-being. In this profound communion, deeper than consciousness, more intimate than thought, more real than physical sensation, the fragments of self that daily life has scattered gradually draw together in coherent wholeness. The aspects of identity that stress has fragmented gently reintegrate into unified being. The parts of story that trauma has disconnected carefully rewire into meaningful narrative. Through deepest valleys of sleep, through most profound surrender of consciousness, through most complete vulnerability of being, Jesus remains. His presence never wavers, never weakens, never withdraws. The commitment made in Eden's garden, confirmed at Bethlehem's manger, sealed at Calvary's cross, established at resurrection's empty tomb. This commitment continues unbroken through every moment of your night journey. And as night's hours pass, as sleep cycles complete their restorative work, as dreams process their symbolic material, as body renews its depleted resources, a subtle shift begins. The darkness that has held this sacred space starts to yield ever so slightly to approaching dawn, not yet visible, not yet tangible, but present in potential, in promise, in inevitable progression of creation's ordained rhythms. Jesus notices this shift with perfect attention. His care doesn't diminish as night progresses toward morning. His vigilance doesn't waver as sleep moves toward waking. If anything, his presence intensifies as this transition approaches, the vulnerable crossing from unconscious back to conscious, from surrender back to intention, from receiving back to choosing. The night has done its healing work. Sleep has fulfilled its restorative purpose. Dreams have completed their processing function. And now, though consciousness hasn't yet returned, though eyes haven't yet opened, though day's awareness hasn't yet dawned, Jesus prepares the path back to wakefulness with the same tender care with which he guided the journey into sleep. I lay down and slept. David's testimony becomes your own. I woke again because the Lord sustained me. This sustaining presence hasn't been interrupted by sleep's unconsciousness, but has continued unbroken through its every phase, its every depth, its every purpose. And this same presence now prepares to accompany the return journey, from sleeping to waking, from night to day, from rest to activity. As this preparation continues, Jesus makes one final promise to your sleeping form. What has begun in night's sanctuary will continue in day's journey. The communion established in darkness will maintain in light. The presence experienced in rest will accompany in activity. The love that has watched over sleep will guide through wakefulness. And surely I am with you always. His words from Matthew's Gospel span the transition between states of consciousness to the very end of the age. Not just in certain moments or particular spaces or special experiences, but in all moments, all spaces, all experiences, including the ordinary hours of ordinary days with their ordinary challenges and opportunities. The peace deposited during night's deep surrender doesn't need to dissipate in morning's responsibilities. The connection experienced in sleep's vulnerability doesn't need to break in waking's independence. The rest found in unconscious trust doesn't need to vanish in conscious effort. What has been real in darkness remains real in light. What has been true in sleep continues true in waking. This truth settles into deepest levels of being, not as conscious thought yet, but as foundational reality that will support the coming day, that will provide context for its experiences, that will offer framework for its challenges. You are not alone, not for a single moment. You are not unseen, not for a single struggle. You are not unloved, not for a single breath. The night journey nears its completion. And Jesus, faithful companion through its every phase, now prepares to accompany you across the threshold into a new day, a day he has already entered, already blessed, already filled with his presence. When awareness begins to return, when sleep gradually releases its hold, when consciousness starts its slow reawakening, Jesus is still there. The presence that accompanied your descent into rest now attends your ascent into wakefulness. The love that watched over unconscious hours now welcomes conscious ones. The hands that held you through night's vulnerability now support morning's emerging strength. First light filters through window coverings, mingling with divine light that has never dimmed, never wavered, never withdrawn. Physical illumination meets spiritual radiance in gentle greeting. Created morning acknowledges eternal day. Temporal rhythm recognizes timeless reality. And in this sacred convergence, you begin the journey back to conscious awareness. Eyes may still be closed, body may still be heavy with sleep's lingering embrace, mind may still be foggy with dreams' residual images. But spirit already recognizes continuing presence of the one who has maintained unbroken vigil through darkest hours. Before conscious thought forms, before deliberate choice initiates, before intentional prayer articulates, communion already exists, connection already flows, relationship already functions. Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed. Jeremiah's lament transforms into morning declaration, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. This renewal isn't dependent on feeling or awareness or devotional practice. It exists as objective reality, established by divine character, maintained by divine commitment, guaranteed by divine promise. Whether recognized or not, whether appreciated or not, whether responded to or not. As consciousness gradually clears, as thoughts begin to form with increasing coherence, as awareness expands to include physical surroundings and approaching day. Jesus remains your first companion, your primary reality, your fundamental context. Before engagement with responsibilities, before interaction with others, before confrontation with challenges, this relationship exists as foundation for all that follows, as framework for all that unfolds, as filter for all that enters. In the morning, Lord, you hear my voice. David's psalm becomes your own testimony. In the morning, I lay my requests before you and wait expectantly. Not because morning devotion earns divine attention, but because divine attention has never ceased, has never slept, has never withdrawn, making morning communion not initiation of contact, but recognition of ongoing presence. Jesus sits now at bedside with same attentive care that marked his nighttime vigil. His eyes hold same compassion, his smile same welcome, his presence same comfort. Nothing hurried or demanding in his manner, nothing pressuring or anxious in his expectation, just patient, waiting for your full return to wakefulness, your complete recognition of his continuing presence. Good morning. His greeting comes not as audible sound perhaps, but as heart's intuition, as spirit's recognition, as soul's knowing. I'm still here. I've always been here. I will always be here. In these first moments of waking, before day's demands crowd in, before responsibilities assert their urgency, before concerns renew their pressure, there's opportunity for carrying night's peace into daylight hours. Not as temporary feeling, quickly dispelled by circumstance, not as fragile state, easily disrupted by challenge, but as underlying reality that transcends emotional fluctuation and situational variation. Jesus offers his continuing presence as anchor through coming challenges, as stability amid approaching changes, as constancy throughout impending uncertainties. The peace experienced in night's sanctuary doesn't need to remain there, doesn't need to dissolve with morning light, doesn't need to evaporate in day's heat. It can accompany every step, inform every decision, undergird every interaction. Peace, I leave with you, his words from upper room echo in morning's fresh air. My peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. This peace doesn't depend on circumstance, but transforms it, doesn't require perfect conditions, but creates them, doesn't demand ideal environment, but establishes it. It flows not from external factors aligning with preference, but from internal alignment with divine presence. Imagine taking this presence with you into every moment of approaching day, into morning routine with its familiar patterns and occasional disruptions, into work responsibilities with their known challenges and unexpected complications, into relationship interactions with their beautiful connections and painful misunderstandings, into decision points with their clear options and ambiguous implications. See Jesus walking beside you through each of these scenarios, not as distant observer or remote advisor, but as immediate companion and present guide, not offering commentary from safe distance, but providing wisdom from closest proximity, not delivering judgment from lofty height, but extending mercy from equal stance. The hand that held yours through night's vulnerability continues to hold through day's activity. The voice that sang over sleeping form continues to speak over waking consciousness. The love that watched while eyes were closed continues to attend while eyes are open. Nothing about this divine commitment changes with shift from darkness to light, from rest to activity, from surrender to engagement. I am with you always. Jesus' promise spans every transition, every circumstance, every condition, to the very end of the age. Not just in certain moments or particular spaces or special experiences, but in all moments, all spaces, all experiences, including the ordinary hours of ordinary days with their ordinary challenges and opportunities. To maintain awareness of this continuing presence through day's distractions requires intentional practice. Not to make presence real, but to keep it conscious. Not to earn attention, but to notice it. Not to activate relationship, but to participate in it. Simple breath prayers reconnect conscious mind with spiritual reality already functioning beyond awareness. Inhale, Jesus, you are here. Exhale, I am not alone. Inhale, Savior, you see me. You see me, but that. Exhale, I am fully known. Inhale, Lord, you love me. Exhale, I am completely secure. These brief reconnections, possible in busiest meeting, in most crowded space, in most demanding situation, serve as windows between worlds, as doorways between seen and unseen, as bridges between temporal and eternal. They remind that visible reality isn't complete reality, that material dimension isn't only dimension, that human perception isn't ultimate truth. Jesus provides memory triggers throughout day's journey. Small moments that recall night's communion, brief encounters that echo sleep's surrender, quiet pauses that remember rest's release, the unexpected beauty that catches breath, the small kindness that touches heart, the brief silence that opens space, the chance alignment that suggests meaning. These aren't random occurrences, but divine invitations, opportunities to reconnect conscious mind with continuing reality of presence that never ceases, that never falters, that never ends. The peace established in night sanctuary remains available even in daytime storms, not as feeling, but as foundation, not as emotion, but as reality, not as experience, but as truth. When anxiety rises like sudden squall, when anger flares like unexpected flame, when sadness descends like heavy cloud, the presence remains unchanged, unmoved, unaffected. The same Christ who calmed Galilee's waters now offers stillness amid emotions' turbulence, clarity amid thoughts' confusion, stability amid circumstances' chaos. You will keep in perfect peace. Isaiah's promise extends into every situation. Those whose minds are steadfast because they trust in you. This steadfast mind isn't one without questions or challenges, but one anchored in relationship with the one who transcends them all. And as trust deepens, this perfect peace, this shalom that encompasses not just absence of conflict, but presence of flourishing, establishes itself not just as occasional experience, but as continuing condition. This night's communion expands now from single experience to lifelong journey. The divine companionship that blessed these sleeping hours extends backward through all your history and forward through all your future. Unbroken continuity of presence that spans every day and night, every joy and sorrow, every triumph and failure, every beginning and ending. Jesus has been there in your highest moments, those times of achievement and recognition, those experiences of connection and belonging, those seasons of clarity and purpose. Not as distant audience to your success, but as intimate participant in your joy. Not as remote benefactor of your blessing, but as immediate source of your good. Jesus has been there in your lowest valleys. Those periods of loss and confusion, those struggles with rejection and isolation, those battles with doubt and despair. Not as disappointed witness to your failure, but as compassionate companion in your pain. Not as harsh judge of your weakness, but as merciful healer of your wound. Never will I leave you. Hebrews' ancient promise pulses with present power. Never will I forsake you. Not a commitment dependent on your performance or contingent on your response, but a declaration flowing from divine character that cannot deny itself. Divine love that cannot withdraw itself. Divine faithfulness that cannot compromise itself. This faithful presence extends not just through past and present, but into approaching future, through every challenge not yet faced, every opportunity not yet recognized, every joy not yet experienced, every loss not yet mourned. The road ahead may contain unexpected turns, unseen obstacles, unfamiliar landscapes, but it contains no territory where divine companionship does not already wait, no circumstance where divine wisdom does not already prepare, no struggle where divine strength does not already position itself. The anxieties about tomorrow that sometimes disrupt today's peace concerns, about decisions not yet made, problems not yet solved, needs not yet met, lose their paralyzing power in light of this continuing presence. The one who holds tomorrow already dwells in today. The one who knows future's challenges already provides today's resources. The one who sees approaching storms already establishes present foundations. Do not worry about tomorrow. Jesus' teaching from Mountainside speaks practical wisdom, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Not dismissal of legitimate concern, but invitation to proper perspective. Not denial of real challenges, but assertion of greater reality. Not minimization of actual needs, but affirmation of abundant provision. See how Jesus has already gone ahead into tomorrow's landscape, already walked its difficult terrain, already mapped its complicated pathways. The footprints you will discover aren't left by one who walked beside, but by one who went before preparing way, removing obstacles, establishing path, securing passage. The divine presence you will encounter isn't one that arrives with you, but one that awaits you, having already experienced what you have yet to face, having already prepared what you have yet to need. I go to prepare a place for you. Jesus' promise extends beyond final destination to immediate journey. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you to be with me, that you also may be where I am. This preparation and return happens not just at journey's end, but throughout its duration, continuous cycle of divine anticipation and divine accompaniment, divine preparation and divine presence. The strength required for tomorrow's challenges isn't stored up through today's anxiety, but received through today's surrender, not earned through worried planning, but given through trusting relationship, not achieved through exhaustive preparation, but accepted through humble acknowledgement of need. It arrives not before it's necessary, but precisely when required, not in overwhelming abundance, but in sufficient measure, not for hypothetical possibility, but for actual reality. My grace is sufficient for you. Divine assurance to Paul becomes present promise, for my power is made perfect in weakness. This sufficient grace isn't depleted by consistent need, isn't exhausted by persistent struggle, isn't limited by continuing dependence. It flows from inexhaustible source, from unlimited supply, from infinite resource, ensuring that what is required will always be provided, what is needed will always be supplied, what is necessary will always be available. As tomorrow approaches with its particular demands, its specific challenges, its unique opportunities, Jesus offers blessing that spans time's boundaries, that bridges night and day, that connects sleep and waking, that joins rest and activity. This benediction flows like gentle river through all life's transitions, all circumstances changes, all conditions variations, providing continuity amid discontinuity, constancy amid change, certainty amid flux. The Lord bless you and keep you. Numbers' ancient words carry present power. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. This isn't wishful thinking, but established reality. Divine blessing already active, divine keeping already functioning, divine grace already operating, divine peace already available. The face that has watched over sleeping form doesn't turn away from waking consciousness. The attention that has guarded unconscious vulnerability doesn't abandon conscious responsibility. The love that has embraced deepest surrender doesn't withdraw from intentional engagement. The presence that has blessed night's darkness doesn't depart from day's light. As this benediction settles over approaching hours, Jesus offers one final assurance, not as conclusion, but as continuation, not as ending, but as transition, not as goodbye, but as promise of ongoing hello. The arms that have held through night's journey don't release with morning's arrival. The commitment that has sustained through sleep's vulnerability doesn't expire with waking's independence. The love that is watched through unconscious rest doesn't diminish with conscious activity. Lo, I am with you always. His final words to disciples become present reality, even to the end of the age. Not limited by time's boundaries or space's constraints or circumstances' variations, but transcending all categories, all conditions, all contexts. This presence isn't periodic, but continuous, isn't partial, but complete, isn't conditional, but absolute. Feel this assurance settling like gentle snow over consciousness, layer upon layer of quiet certainty, of peaceful knowing, of restful confidence. The divine arms that never tire of holding, the divine eyes that never weary of watching, the divine heart that never ceases loving, the divine mind that never stops attending, the divine presence that never ends, never withdraws, never diminishes. As this day begins, with all its unknowns and uncertainties, all its challenges and opportunities, all its joys and sorrows, one reality remains constant, unchanged, absolutely reliable. You are not alone. You have never been alone. You will never be alone. Rest in this truth as you rise to meet this day's particular journey. Rest in this reality as you engage this day's specific challenges. Rest in this presence as you navigate this day's unique landscape. And when night falls again, when responsibilities end and defenses lower, when strength fades and vulnerability returns, when consciousness dims and surrender approaches, remember that the cycle continues, the presence remains, the love endures. Jesus will be waiting again in darkness as faithfully as he accompanies in light. The arms that hold through daylight hours will cradle through night's depths. The voice that guides through waking decisions will sing over sleeping form. For now and always, in darkness and light, in sleeping and waking, in resting and serving, rest, child of God. You are safe now.